Today we're going to talk about Master Joe's bottom principles. Not each one, but the primaries. The bottom principles are to be used whenever on the bottom and having an opponent on top of you. Your primary thing to remember is when you're on the bottom, you always want to be on your side and away from your attacker. And if you're the attacker, you want that person flat and you want to be over them. So if you can remember that every time you spar, self-defense, anything, if you find yourself on the bottom, just those two, you're going to do pretty well for yourself because the rest kind of takes care of its own self. For example, if I had a person over me and I were to be flat and allow their head and chest over me, whether they were in between my legs, outside of my legs, sitting on top of me, any of those horrible positions that could be potentially horrible positions for me, I'm only going to help them by staying flat and letting them be like two books, flat. But if I can move and turn my book to a side and create an angle, you can see this on your phone. If I can move and get to my side, I create an angle that allows me to either scoop my back side out or my top side out. Only two sides that are going to get out. Now having limbs are very helpful. Here, we try not to get down to too many of them. We want to use primarily our feet, which are number ones. All this is number one. When we say number one, we mean these are your primary forms of defense and attack. So you want to use your feet as number one, your knees, all around your knees is number two. Even the outside, the thighs, inside, this is your primary. So if I can keep a person that way with knees and knees, whether it be through kicks, pushes, locks, presses, knee in front of the person, feet in front of the person, I'm safe from their arm attacks, from their hands punching. If for whatever reason I feel that a person has too much control, whether on my knees or my thighs, which is what we definitely do not want anybody to have control of, whether they pass them or they're controlling them, I must sit up and get my hands in the game. Now when we talk about our hands, I'm going to get into all the details of how you do it. You just want to make sure your hands are in the game. The principle of movement is not based on what you can push, because you don't know how big that person is, but how you can push yourself. So however big the person is, you imagine them to be a 10,000-pound moving ball that you're moving off. So if I imagine a person coming toward me, I'm putting my hand to stop a knee from kicking me, a hip from getting too close, everything from getting too close. My other hand is creating a post as I can frame and move. But preferably, I want to have my feet and my knees and my hands in the game. I never want to be flat. Sitting up is okay, but getting to my side even better. I never want doors open for people to get in here. As soon as I separate my elbows and extend my leg, here becomes a space that someone can get into, right? So closed doors, okay? Closed doors. So we have a saying here of 3, 2, 1, you're done. If I can get my 3s in, just for safety, I can get my 2s in, meaning I can then get my 1. What we use our legs for is to make space and to attack. But from the bottom, primary is to make space. Meaning, we don't want to pull people on top of us, it's only helping them. In the gi, without the gi, I don't care. If you're pulling somebody on top of you, you're helping. So you never use your powerful weaponry for that. You use that to keep them away from you or keep yourself away from them. So sometimes strength does matter and you might have to push someone, but objectively speaking for Jiu-Jitsu, you generally want to be moving yourself, not the other person. You're going to find yourself really tired and burning out trying to push other people around. So getting down to the meat of it. What we want when we're fighting another person or grappling with another person is to ensure that they're away from us. Now here are your principles. You want to use your 1s, your 2s, and your 3s to keep people at bay. You want to be on your side and your head away, not in alignment with their head. You never want to be flat, okay? Wherever their energy is going, forward, backward, side to side, you want to help that energy to go. So you don't want it on top of you if they're feeling that you're using these as your antenna. So wherever you feel them going, if they're going that way, then you help them go that way. As they go that way, you can sit up and take or whatever comes to you. Okay, as Master Joe would say, whatever comes to you. Okay, so these are the gifts that happen when you're within your principles. So if you ever feel your guard getting passed, it's because you've either not put one or two or all three of these principles. One of them is off, and that's why you got your guard passed, or why you got submitted, or why someone's on top of you. So you don't have to sit there worrying about how that happened to you on your drive home. Just know your principles weren't on, or they weren't on fast enough if you were with someone who understands principles. So as we get to today, we're going to talk about 3 primary movements you can work on at home just by yourself, and we're going to fix them so that as you do them, they're not the ones you see on YouTube that can kind of get you messed up, because we're talking about fighting. Jiu-Jitsu fighting, not Jiu-Jitsu competition, okay? So number 1 is your first snake, okay? Some people call it a shrimp. We call it a snake because Jiu-Jitsu comes from Kung Fu, and the movement of a snake to get out and slither away is what we're trying to mimic. We're not trying to look stiff in our snakes. This doesn't look like a snake, does it? It looks very stiff, it looks very robotic, it looks very hard, like we're trying to push. What we're imagining is with one foot straight, one leg bent, and I'm already to my side, as far as I can go, hips and shoulder to my side. I have imagined that at this point there is someone trying to make it into this area. So a real snake does not involve me just pushing my foot in the ground and sticking my butt back, because I still have space. A real snake involved me bringing my 2 to my elbow or my 1. Okay, I want to close that door. So when I snake, I want this door closed. I want to make some kind of frame that's going to allow them to not get in here. This knee is the one that's protecting me. This elbow also is protecting me in a fight. So 1, when I stick my butt back on my side, 1, and when I bring my head back, I don't just lever my body back. It's very robotic. I'm going to unravel like yoga, like a snake, and let their energy, as my 3s are on, let their energy move me so that I can get my knee back in place and retain my guard. So when we do our snakes, we don't continue snake, 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 unless we need to make that much space. If I have enough space to bring my knee to my elbow, I stop right there. Snake, enough space to bring my knee to my elbow, that person's out of the way. I bring my knee to my elbow, preferably toes pointing to the sky, because this foot then comes in or presses on my foot, however way. Once this foot comes in, I go back to reach to my 2s with my 1s on, doors closed. We can practice the other side. 1 leg straight, 1 leg bent, foot pushing into the ground. I snake, bring my knee to my elbow. When I see that I have enough space, bring my body back. Okay, other foot comes in, and boom. That's primary snake number 1, Joe's way. The way that'll keep you safe, MMA, and it's work. Jiu-Jitsu, help you to create space, also help you to attack, also help you with all of your principles. So if that person is giving you a lot of energy, and as you're snaking, you feel them keep coming, that doesn't mean you need to retain. Sometimes that means you can just bring your knee or your other knee over, push them away, and here's an arm, or here's an oblada. So the movements look, they all look very similar. Okay, very simple, easy movements that don't cost you anything, they don't cost you a penny. Second snake, primary snake. It's going to be our elbow snake, okay? So from here, it's the same concept. We have someone coming, they've passed maybe one of our knees, or they've passed our feet and our knees. We need to create space. We stay on our side, we put our hands on their shoulder or their head, preferably. We snake, we make space. Maybe they take control of both of our legs or grab my legs. At this point, I need to bring my elbow back and sit up to my elbow. They need to be moving away from me. So my head is going to push not away this way, but down into the ground. Head, push to the ground. As I push into the ground, just like a snake, I don't jump my butt. I slither my butt. Just like a snake. That's where their head is. Come out, on top, come out, do the same thing. Bring my elbow to my knee, retain my guard, or bring my elbow to my knee, sit up, take it back. Okay. You'll see it in schools, it looks a lot like this. That's how you sit up, scoop, scoop, sit up, scoop, scoop. Correct. But look what we're doing. We're trying to keep a person at bay who's in complete alignment with us. Away, scooting this way, and taking their head this way. Now their energy is going away from me. Now my principles are on. The knee connects, the knee bumps the butt, helps them to go. I can take it back, I can take legs, I can sit up, take it back, pull them down. Okay, all my options come to me. Or I can go ahead and take arm and go right back into drills forward. So remember, when you elbow snake, it's not a stiff snake, it's we're moving with that person's motion. Okay, we sit up because they have control of both of our legs. We take the head, we move it down, and we slither. It's very dance-like. We slither our body out. Help them to go that way. Now our leg is free to come out. And we do the same thing. Bring our knees to our elbows. Okay, step over, or bring our knees to our elbow. Step over, we can attack, or we can defend. Okay? Your third snake, it's called your clock snake. We have others. But it's very important to remember. A person can only have control of either your top half or your bottom half. They can't have control of both, ever, in any fight. So if someone has control of your bottom half, we did discuss, my bottom half. What do? I sit up to my elbow, I slither snake, elbow snake, put my knee back in, rotate my guard, go back in the game again. But what happens if they have my top half? Well, number one, we never want our elbows separated. That's a rule, not a principle. Because once I separate my elbows, my limbs are free for attack. Once I separate my chin from my chest, my neck is free for attack. So I'm always going to have my elbows in, my core tight. If they pass my guard, that doesn't mean just because I can't put my legs on them, I can't use the floor to help me to move. So if they're here on top of me having some kind of control, generally, we'll talk about this in another class. You want to have a nice deep underhook and an overhook. One to protect your face for being cross-face or punch, and the other one to protect your face and your ribs for being cross-face or punch. Your chin tucked, everything tight for no headbutts. Ready to go when they are ready to go. They're the attackers, we're the defense makers. So when they move, we move. When they give us the opportunity, we go. We don't necessarily fight and push until they give us the heads up. And anyone on top, that's what they're trying to do. They're either trying to mount you or submit you. So we want to be, once again, not flat. We want to be on our side. We want our knee protected from the mount, but not ready for them to try to mount, which they can. That's not flat. And also to protect from that knee hitting us. Okay? It's a blocker, an underhook, so that I can sit up and take it back like we did before. Okay? All these things put you in this position, puts you in for everything. So now we're imagining this person's got us, and they're starting to try to flatten us out. What's going to cause my shoulders to hit the floor is me not being all the way on my side. So see, this is not enough. This is not enough. This, where my forehead touches the ground, I'm all the way over, is definitely enough. Now my shoulder is tucked, my hand is here defending, I have my underhook preferably, or even if I'm inside here, as long as the arm is unattackable. Now what do I do with my feet? I have to create a post. Because if this person's trying to flatten his shoulder out, I want to be able to move my feet this way or this way. Okay? Now you got two different types of clock snakes. We're going to do the forward clock. So if I feel any opportunity where my opponent's trying to push my weight back here, this way, then I'm not going to move my feet this way. My feet are going to go this way. So as they're pushing here, I can go ahead and take 2 steps. 1, 2, or as many as I need. 2. My feet move. My head comes back, just like a snake, keeping them at bay. And I make my snake and bring my elbow in. Okay, boom. And back to retain my guard. So there's your clock snake. 1, elbow to knee. 2, not boom, but like a snake. Everything slides together. And over. Boom, boom, boom. We have to go to the other side. We do the same thing. 1, 2, 1, 2. So I feel like pushing. However, it's slow. Bring my knee to my ones. Back over. Knee to my one. Step in if I have to. Back over. Okay, very, very simple movements. The opposite way, if I feel they have full control of me and they're trying to take this shoulder flat to the ground, turn me over, or they're coming around, so they're walking around trying to come into a north-south. I don't want to separate my elbows and give them an arm. I don't want to separate my neck and give them my head. What I want to do is give them this whole blockade. So as I lock in, I'm gonna take 2 steps back this time now. Now look at my head to the floor as I put my hand on the floor or just my shoulder to the floor, and I weave this foot through. You can step over sometimes if you see your option to step over, but I'm gonna go ahead and weave this foot through. Look. Toe point, shoulder as I can raise my hip off the ground. That gives me the space to weave this foot through. Now I'm here, boom. Bring my knees to my elbows and close. If they're here. Now I'm in perfect position to go ahead and sit back, regain my guard, or I'm in perfect position, regain my guard, perfect position. If they want to come back to the side again, regain my guard. No needs for fancy movements. Very simple movements for the fast-paced passer or the slow. These are based on not being very athletic. Now, when we add things like half guard and locking people down and making sure they can't move, along with these movements, you'll find yourself retaining and getting out of guard much faster. Without these movements, you'll find yourself using strength, getting tired, and probably never getting out, or very, very hard to get out most of the time, especially against more skilled opponents. So take these, as my professor has given them to me, and utilize them for yourself. Practice them under your own meditation and guidance. Imagine that person in front of you, and sometimes don't imagine anything at all, just do the movements. Practice them as he taught me, and your jiu-jitsu is sure to level up. That'll be for today, and thank you for attending the JJ class on guard. Joe Moreira, bottom principle base guard. Thank you guys.